Hello, precious beings, and welcome to our new moon in Libra. And what a sought after one I feel like this is. I have been feeling incredibly in need of seeking balance, and at least it is the new moon for it. But nevertheless, it's very much a swaying, a teetering on that edge. So the reading I wanted to do here with you all this evening is what Osho calls the mirror reading. I'm not sure if it's originally his, but I haven't come across it anywhere else. But what I find so special about this is it really focuses on the balancing out, and whichever way you read it, the intention is the outer manifestations of, read it as a partnership, your own personal interplay between your light and dark, or light and shadow side, between your masculine and feminine side, between a partner, between your physical and what's happening in the subconscious. It really leaves a lot of interpretation for layers. So that's why it's one of my favorites. Favorites rather, but as it is laid out, it is you in the here and now, the other in the here and now, and then the inner manifest, or rather the outer manifestations of the partnership, and then the inner manifestations of the partnership. So that's just the basis of it, but let's do some cards and see where it goes. I've interpreted it a little bit from Osho's. He lays out a total of 12 cards, and the two on the physicality side he interprets as body, heart, and mind, which I find interesting that he sort of negates spirit in that and places mind at the head of that. But nevertheless, I think mind is obviously a very valid interpretation, or rather a valid place that we need guidance. But I've added just spirit to that, or soul to that interpretation. And then the the reading of the two, the inner and the outer manifestations, reads the melding of the partnerships together, the transformation, or rather the melding of the energies, the transformation of the energies, and the blessings of the energies, both inwardly and outwardly. So I hope that makes a bit of sense, but it'll make more sense as we go. Anyway, beautiful ones, may this bring whatever message you need to hear on this new moon, balancing out. Okay. I'm not sure if you can hear that noise. I'm sorry. It's my dog snoring. I don't have the heart to move her because she gets so grumpy when I do. But yes, sorry for that noise. Okay, special ones. Last shuffle. Okay, last one. Yes. Gosh. Very conflicting energies, I must say. Oh my goodness, this is so interesting. So just before I started filming, sorry, last cards and top of the deck and bottom of the deck. Oh, this is why I love tarot. Okay, so yeah, just before I started filming, I laid out a spread without any intention. It was literally just to see the layout of the cards, and I was really wanting to show you the spread. And as I sat down to film, load shedding hit. So then we had to get out the candles, rearrange everything. Anyway, the virtually not the same cards, but some very similar ones came out. Ah, goodness gracious. Okay, so where to even begin? Where to even begin? I mean, top and bottom of the deck, let's actually just start there, I suppose. So this is interesting. Underneath the deck, the overall energy, God, I love this card, is patience. Now, this obviously speaks to, on a very literal level, pregnancy and the energy of pregnancy, which is very much, oh, sorry, let me leave that for you, but which is very much the energy going in the air at the moment, shall I say. So in whichever way that manifests for you, whether it's a literal birth of a child or whether it's a project working on something new, that is very much where I feel we are being guided to go, is starting afresh in whichever way. But also almost a side warning, if pregnancy literally is not something that you are necessarily wanting right now in your life, there is a warning from the universe to just be a little extra careful, maybe, if that's not quite what you're going for right now. Then at the top of the deck, we have the final card, not in fact in Osho's deck, but the final card in the general tarot, which is Beyond Illusion, which equates to, oh, I'm thinking we are the world now. I'll remember it now. But a completing of a cycle and a completing of a major cycle. So again, within this balancing act that we are being asked to do right now, I think it's very much about looking at the underside of things, and that's why a lot of these cards are heavy, I'm not gonna lie. We're very much being asked to, in order to move through these beautiful transitional phases, these moon phases, and into almost the next phase of life, the mothering stage, the giving birth to the project, and this incredible just butterfly third eye expansion energy. We need to deal with the yuck, the muck that is underneath. And I don't know about you guys, but that's definitely the energies that I've been feeling around a lot. Okay, so overall, goodness gracious, I'm just noticing we have a heck of a lot of air energy here. So very much being stuck in mind. 2, 4, 6, 7, 7 air cards. That's a lot. That's completely the predominant energy here. And then followed by emotions. Very minimal major arcana. So as I said, the fact that we're ending with this very last final major arcana card in the deck is speaking to that this is the underscore. This is what's happening beneath all of that to reach this ultimate transformation. Okay, so I hope, sorry for the preamble, just this is going to be a bit of a difficult reading, I'm sensing. So just know that the ultimate outcome is a good one. So in the place of, let's start in the place of body. From both sides, it's coming from a fairly integrated place. Externally manifesting the world. We are the world. This is also completion, happiness, a really speaking to returning to the body in a literal sense, the returning to the self, and how that leads to joy and celebration. I'm also just noticing the rainbow colors of the dances, and that's very much speaking to the chakras and how the balancing out of all the divine colors, the divine energies, leads to that happiness, that fulfillment within ourselves, brings us back to ourselves. I find very much when I'm feeling incredibly out of myself, the chakras, the elements are my most grounding feelings. So from the outer manifestations, the inner manifestations is the dream. Now, I absolutely adore what Osho says on this. In fact, it's a little bit long and a bit unorthodox, but let me read this to you, in fact, because it's so apt, I feel, so often to everybody. So the dream very much speaks to the emotions we can get so stuck in our heart. And he says, some enchanted evening you're going to meet your soulmate, the perfect person who will meet all your needs and fulfill all your dreams, right? Wrong! This fantasy that songwriters and poets are so fond of perpetuating has its roots in memories of the womb, where we were so secure and at one with our mothers. It's no wonder we have hankered to return to that place all our lives. Cheeky master. But, to put it quite brutally, it is a childish dream, and it's amazing we hang on to it so stubbornly in the face of reality. Nobody, whether it's your current mate or some dreamed of partner in the future, has any obligation to deliver your happiness on a platter, nor could they even if they wanted to. Real love comes not from trying to solve our neediness by depending on another, but by developing our own inner richness and maturity. Then we have so much love to give that we naturally draw lovers towards us. This has been said again and again down through the ages. All the religious people have been saying this. We come alone into this world, we go alone. All togetherness is illusory. The very idea of togetherness arises because we are alone, and that aloneness hurts. We want to drown our aloneness in relationship. That's why we become so much involved in love. Try to see the point. Ordinarily, you think you have fallen in love with a woman or with a man because she is beautiful, he is beautiful. That is not the truth. The truth is just the opposite. You have fallen in love because you cannot be alone. You were going to fall. You were going to avoid yourself somehow or other. And there are people who don't fall in love with women or men. They fall in love with money. They start moving into money or into a power trip. They become politicians. That too is avoiding your aloneness. If you watch yourself deeply, you will be surprised. All your activities can be reduced to one single source. The source is that you are afraid of your aloneness. Everything else is just an excuse. The real cause is that you find yourself very alone. Now, sorry, that's quite a long interpretation, but honestly, I feel there Osho says it best. We will avoid ourselves somehow, and in whichever way you're doing that, actually just pausing and coming to terms with your not even reality, but reality and mortality gives you that gives you everything. It's absolutely ludicrous that we spend our lives avoiding talking about death when it's the one thing we all have in common. My brother and I had a chat about this, and it just absolutely floored both of us, where we realize that the only commonality every single person in this world has is that we will all die. There are souls that come into this world, and I believe very firmly that even an unborn soul is very much a soul and alive and around us still. So if there are even souls that are conceived and that do not necessarily get the chance to be born, a commonality we do have with that soul is we will both experience death. So we might not even have birth in common. I mean, just wrap your head, like that just really was the point for me. We might not even have birth in common with every person on this planet, but we have death in common. And so therefore it's such an incredible unifier. Actually, it should be the thing that brings us the most together, and yet we're so scared of it. We spend our lives running in circles to just get away from it. So it's a caution to really focus on yourself in the here and now, and not just in, put a face mask on, have a bath. Really look at the underbelly of what is going on, which takes us to air energy, so much stuck in the mind. So this is the heart. Now, the outer manifestations of the heart are fighting. Very self-explanatory. Again, beyond the man who is obviously very explosive, ready to explode, we have emerging from his mind, and then in the background, just the constant drain, the constant need to be on the defensive, the constant anguish going on in the background of the mind, and it just results in this prickly, uncomfortable energy. So in the heart space, what is needed is a rebirth. Now, rebirth is complicated. Rebirth involves death. Death is painful, more painful than birth, not necessarily. But death is nevertheless a transformation. So needing to return to, I feel like, childlike, not even innocence, but childlikeness, playfulness, needing to think back to what truly ignites your heart. When you were a little kid, anything was easy to get excited about. The fact that it was a Saturday morning was the most, okay, that's still very exciting, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking, as a little kid, I remember, we'd get a square of chocolate after dinner for dessert, and that was like a high, and not even the highlights of the day, because there were so many, seeing your best friend, highlight, like going in the car, being allowed to drive on the back of the bucky, getting the wind in your hair, like everything was just such a thrill. And in needing to step out of the mind, out of what's niggling us and holding us down, one of the easiest keys, I feel, oh, my battery is dying and load shedding. Okay, let me speed this up. So really needing to return to childlike innocence. Then we move to the body, the heart, the mind. Now the mind, interestingly enough, has us in trust and totality. So obviously needing to get out of mind energy and needing to come back to ourselves, back to that space of freedom, empty sky, breathability. I mean, could these cards, excuse me, be more similar? Just trust. It's very difficult for the mind, but that is how we get to move through these difficulties. in the spirit section, and as I was saying, move through the difficulties, part the veil, part the veil, and move into an awareness. On the flip side, we have the burden. So again, sorry, I'm needing to just calm down. I'm like, battery dying, think quick. But yes, you know, how to drop the burden, how to get through to ourselves almost, is to let go, completely let go. I'm jumping ahead slightly, but I just want to get to this card because it's so interesting it came up. Or in fact, okay, sorry, calm down, focus. So in the inner manifestations, or rather the melding manifestations of these energies, outwardly we have receptivity, and inwardly maturity. Interesting, this energy. I think there's a lot of snake energy, to be honest, going around. So very much the shedding of the skins. I'm not sure if you can see the Ouroboros. It's not very clear here, but the Ouroboros encircling her. So again, coming to the balance, you know, the very name that I have here, as above, so below, it's within these absolute contradictions that we find our balance. So, yes, what we're being called to do is come back to self, come back to nature. I feel like nature is always a particular one where we can connect with that inner self, find that childlikeness. So, and to be moving through again these difficult energies and so similar. This is the key almost that we're moving through. I love I'm not sure if you can sort of see the key shape almost of this schizophrenia. Which, and now don't get panicked about the words. I feel like Osho's words can be very helpful in giving a determiner, almost giving a focus, but careful of them becoming prescriptive. So not to speak of schizophrenia as in the condition, that's not the right term, but you know what I mean. But rather this speaks to when you are so conflicted between particularly your heart and your mind, and you are being called to, by the birds, being called to move on to the next thing, and you're standing stuck here in the middle, stuck in the sorrow again, in the middle of two places. I mean, so similar. Universe. What Osho says is, when you don't know where your heart or your mind stand, let go, just let go of the cliff, and your heart will start beating so fast, you'll know exactly where it stands. So the trick is in the relinquishing, I suppose, and in the showing up as you are in whatever space you are. Obviously, you know, and again, why I sort of delayed doing this reading is wanting to show up authentically here with you, whether that's no matter what state I'm in, but wanting to show up in a helpful way, not being authentically in a shit place and then putting that on people, you know. So needing to, I'm not sure where I was going with that, sorry, but just needing to, yeah, come as you are, I feel like. So in the blessings then, now this, to be honest, I'm a little bit confused by. So in the blessings outwardly, we have control, and inwardly postponement. Now, I feel like, look, control equates to the Queen of Swords. So